Okay, so yeah, so if you look at the steps and you look at the steps that I have on the board, they're exactly the same as the steps we've been using the last couple days. There's no difference. I didn't add anything to them because the steps are the same. So what's different? What we do within them is a little different. There's a couple steps that we're going to do a little differently. It's not a big change, but it is a change. Um, it is a change. Okay. So we're still solving and factoring. We're still dealing with standard form. Okay. So our steps are still the same, right? We still use the same steps. Um, Within those steps, it's going to look a little different though. Okay. Okay. So I'll skip that since those steps are the same. Reduce fractions. We will get fractions today. We haven't got fractions in the last couple days. We have in the past, but not in the last couple days. We will get fractions. Don't turn them into decimals. Just reduce them if you can. Okay? And always keep x squared positive. So what I mean by x squared is the guy right here. Whatever a is, try to keep it positive because it makes your life a lot easier if it's positive. Okay? So these are the steps we're going to use. Get the equation equal to 0. We've done that before. Factor. Factor involves ABC. It involves the X game and the box. We've done that before. And then depending on whether they say factor. If they say factor, if they only say factor, we're done here. That's our answer. We're done. If they say solve, we have to set it equal to 0 and solve for X. That's where we get multiple answers. Okay? So you remember the top is multiply A times C. The bottom is add B. Okay? That's the same thing we're doing today. All right, so let's look at number 1. Factor the trinomial below. Directions seem similar. So our first step, set equal to 0 if possible. Well, there's no equal sign. So we can't set it equal to 0 without an equal sign. So skip that step. The next step is ABC. Okay, so what is A? What is B? What is C? A is 3, B is 10, C is 8. Okay, the next step is X game. Okay, on top, we're going to get A times C. In the past, A has always been 1, but now today, A is not going to be 1. It's going to be something other than 1. Well, today it's 3. So to get that number, I multiplied 3 times 8. The bottom's still going to be B. Same game. What are the two numbers that multiply to be 24 but add to be 10? 6 and 4. So do I have to put 6 first? Can I put 4 first? You can put 4 first. You can switch those two numbers. Its order doesn't matter because it's multiplication and addition. All right. That leads us to the multiplication, or sorry, the box. Okay. A with x squared still goes up here. C still goes down here, just like normal. And then it would be 6x and positive 4x, because together they have to make this 10x in here. That's why we both have x's. Okay. Next step's the same. X times x is going to make x squared, right? But now it's not 1 times 1. Now we need a 3 in there. So one of them has to be a 3 and one of them has to be a 1. So I either have to have a 3 here or a 3 here. And then if this one's 3, that one's going to be 1. Or if this one's 3, that one's going to be 1. So how do I know which one? What's that? Well, you look, what happens is you're going to look down the row. So let's say, 1 second here. 1 second, let me answer the phone real quick. Okay, so which one's going to be a 3 and which one's going to be a 1? Well, you look down the line. So let's say this is a 3 up here. Let's say I put a 3 up here. It's got to go into this guy, right? Which it does once. And it's also got to go into this guy too. So if I put a 3 up here, is there a number that's going to be out here that's going to be able to go into 4 evenly? No. Well, let's try over here then. 3 goes into 3. Does 3 go into 6 evenly? Yeah. So because of that, 3 is going to go on the side here. And that means a 1's going to go here. You don't have to write that 1, but it's a 1. Okay, that's how we make that decision. So now I have a 3 here and I have a 6 here. I already got the x, so I don't have to worry about that. So 3 times what makes 6? Positive 2. And then I have a 1x here, right? A 1x there. So 1, I already have the x down here. So 1 times what makes 4? Positive 4. Okay. So our next step is we write it as a factored form, a factored terms. We have 2 of them. Right? We have a 3x plus 4 and an x plus 2. Now it just says factored, no solve. It doesn't say solve anywhere in the problem. So we are done. So on Delta Math, you would have one box, parentheses 3x plus 4, parentheses x plus 2. That's the factored version. We're done. So the same steps, we use the same steps, but the box was a little different. The box was a little different. Okay? That's the first tweak. It's not really a change. I still use the same rules, the same steps. It's just it was a little different when I used it in there. Okay? All right, so now what I want you to do is I want you to do number 2. Try number 2 on your own. Try number 2 on your own. I'll give you a few minutes, and then I'll do it, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so ABC 4, negative 20, positive 9. X. A times C is 36. B is negative 20. Okay. Now, I have to come up with the two numbers that multiply to be 36 and add to be a negative 20. What'd you guys get? What are the two numbers that multiply to be 36 and add to be negative 20? So if you don't get anything, just make a list. So negative 2 times negative 18, that works. Yep. So if you're not sure, make a list. Just go 36. So in your calculator, just go 36 and start dividing it by things. Divided by 2. 18 times 2. 36 divided by 3. 3 times 12. 36 divided by 4. 4 times 9. 36 divided by 5. Nope. 6. 6 times 6. Just start doing that until you list all the numbers if you're not sure. If you got it, you got it. But if you're not sure, that's the way I would do it. Okay? All right, so negative 18 times negative 2. Okay. We have 4x squared, positive 9, negative 18x, negative 2x. So to make x squared, we know it's going to be x times x. But there's a couple different ways to make 4. We could do 4 times 1. I could have one of these guys be a 4 and one of them be a 1. I can have 2 and 2. So how do you know which one? You look down the line. If this guy was a 4 here, it goes in here evenly, but it doesn't go into negative 2 evenly. 4 is too big. So 4 wouldn't work there. What if I put a 4 here? It goes in here evenly, but it doesn't go into negative 18 evenly. So I can't have 4. So let's try a 2. 2 goes in here twice, and 2 goes in here negative 1 times. Same thing over here. It goes in here 4 times, and it goes in here -9 times. So 2 times 2 is the one that fits. The one that fits is the one we want. If it doesn't fit, we don't want it. Okay. So we got 2x minus 9 and 2x minus 1. All they asked us to do is factor it. They just said factor. There's no solve there, so we're done. One box, parentheses 2x minus 1, parentheses 2x minus 9. Or, yeah. Okay. All right, so now let's go to number 3. Number 3, they include the word solve in there. That means we have to use all 4 steps. All 4 steps, just like we did the other day, just like we did in the notes 2 days ago and the assignment yesterday. So first thing you need to do is set it equal to 0. Keep A positive. A right now is positive 5. Keep that positive. It's already positive, leave it positive. Okay? So that means I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. So I get 5x squared plus 7x minus 9. And then I would add 3 to both sides. Okay? Step 1 done. Set it equal to 0. Step 2, ABC. So A is 5, B is 7, C is -6. Multiply A times C. A times C. So when I multiply those two guys, I get -30. B goes on the bottom. So what are the two numbers that multiply to be -30, but when I add them, they're +7? Let's see, what makes 30? 6 and 5, 10 and 3, 15 and 2, 30 and 1. One of them has to be negative. There you go, 10 and 3. Oops, 10 is not going to be negative because that would make -7. It's going to be a -3. Yep, there we go. Okay, so we get 5x squared, this guy there. This guy goes in the last box, -6. Then I get 10x minus 3x, or -3x. Okay. Now I know it's got to be an x times an x because it's x squared, right? I know it has to be x times x, but now it's 5 times 1. So my question is, which one's going to be a 5, the left or the top? Which one's going to be a 5 and which one's going to be a 1? Because I can go 5 times 1 or I can go 1 times 5. I have that option. Well, let's look down the line. Let's say I put a 5 there. 5 goes into 5 once. 5 goes into 10 twice. That fits. Let's see if 5 fits over here. 5 goes into 5 once. 5 goes into -3. 5 can't fit into -3. It's too big. So that means 5 has to go here, and a 1 has to go on top. So that's going to be a +2. That's going to be a -3. Again, if you did it right, these two guys should multiply to be whatever's there. That's how you know you did it right. Everything should multiply out. 5 times 1 is 5. X times x is x squared. 5 times 2 is 10. X times no x is x. Same thing here. Okay. All right, so now I have this. 5x minus 3 and x plus 2. But I had an equal sign. That's why it equals 0, right? The last step. The last step said set the factored terms equal to 0. Set them equal to 0. Okay, so I had 5x minus 3. I'm going to set that equal to 0. Then I had x plus 2. I'm going to set that equal to 0. We've done that before. You guys did that yesterday. Okay, over here I'm going to add 3 to both sides. Over here I'm going to divide by 5. I get 3/5 as an answer. That's an answer. Reduce it is 3/5 is already reduced, so I don't have to reduce it anymore. Don't change it to a decimal, leave it like that. Subtract 2 from both sides. Over here, I get -2. I got one fraction, one whole number. That's fine. Doesn't mean it's wrong. All right. All right, I want you to try number 4. I want you to do number 4. Do number 4 right now. I'll give you a few minutes to do that. Okay. Set it equal to 0. Check. Keep A positive. A is still positive. A is in fact 4. B is -4. C is -3. A times C goes on top. So A times C, -12. B goes on the bottom. What are the two numbers that multiply to be -12, but when you add them together make -4? I think it's going to be 6 and 2, right? But I need a negative, because when I add them, they got to be -4, so that means negative. Okay. So I get 4x squared, -3, -6x, +2x. So I know it's going to be x times x to make x squared. But I have two options, 4 and 1 or 2 and 2. So I can put a 2 and a 2 here. I can put a 4 and a 1 here. Or I can put a 4 and a 1 here. Well, I look down the line. If I were to put a 4 here, that would go in here, but it would be too big for a 2. So it doesn't work there. 4 goes into 4 once. It goes into -6, but not evenly. So 4 is not going to work. So that means the only other option is 2 times 2. So that means this one's going to be a -3. This one's going to be a +1. Okay. So then I have 2x minus 3, 2x plus 1. Again, these are the same thing. These guys right here are the same thing. One's just in factored form, one's in standard form. That's the only difference. They have the same axis of symmetry. They have the same vertex. They have the same y-intercept. They have the same everything, maximum, minimum. Okay, so the last step, because it said solve, set those both equal to 0. So 2x minus 3 equals 0. Bless you. And then 2x plus 1 equals 0. You're going to get two answers. One of my answers is positive 3 over 2. It's reduced. Leave it. The other answer is negative 1/2. 2 boxes. One box says 3 divided by 2. One says negative 1 divided by 2, or negative 1/2. Just like we did yesterday. Okay, so today, the difference today is that this guy right here, right? It's not a 1 anymore. So we have to take that into account, okay? The other thing is we're getting fraction answers. Sometimes we get fraction answers. It's okay. All right, we'll do 2 more and we're done. We'll do this one and then one extra problem and then we're done. Okay? All right, so here we go. This guy here. To set it equal to 0, I know how easy it is to do this. Subtract 6x squared from both sides. I know it's very easy to do that because it's one step. But keep a positive for right now. Keep a positive for right now. Later on in the chapter, I'll show you how to deal with negative a's, but it's just for right now, keep a positive so that everything else will go smoothly. Okay, so we're going to add 11x to both sides. Then we're going to add 3 to both sides. So I get 6x squared plus 11x plus 3. Okay, so I go ABC. I go 6, 11, 3. 6 times 3 is 18. I think we've done 18 before. 11. So I got to add up to 11. Two numbers that multiply to be 18 add up to 11. 9 and 2. Okay. So we got 6x squared, positive 3, and then I have positive 9x and positive 2x. Okay, so I have options here. To make 6, I can do 6 times 1 or I can do 3 times 2. So I have to figure out. Okay, so if I put a 3 here, that's not going to work. It's going to work here, but it's not going to work there. So 3 can't go there. How about 2? If I put a 2 here, it works here, it goes in 3 times, and it works here. It goes in 1 time. Okay, so that means I have to have a 3 over here then. That works. That works. They both go in. So that's the one it's going to be. 2 on top, 3 on the side. This is going to be a plus 3, and this is going to be a plus 1. Okay, so you get 3x plus 1, 2x plus 3 equals 0. Last step. Subtract 1 from both sides. Divide by 3. You get x equals negative 1/3. And then over here, I subtract 3 from both sides. Negative 3/2. Okay, 2 answers, 2 boxes, done. All right, so we're going to do one more and then we're done. One more and then we're done. So in your notes, wherever you're going to tape this, let's do number 6. I have one more problem, And then we're done. Number 6. So you're going to solve by factoring. Okay, here we go. 4x squared minus x minus 9 equals negative x minus 8. So when you do this problem, something goes away. You get 4x squared minus 1 equals 0, right? Something goes away. We've done that before. What's going to be, something's going to be 0. What's going to be 0? B. B 0, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You didn't do anything wrong. You did the steps correct. Sometimes it's just one of these guys is 0. The only one that will never be 0 is A. If you ever get 0 for A, there's something wrong. But B and C can be 0. It's not out of the realm of possibility. We'll know we did it right because this will make sense. So A times C. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. B is 0. So I'm looking for two numbers that when I multiply make negative 4, but when I add them make 0. Are there two numbers? What are those two numbers? Negative 2 and positive 2. Yeah, that worked out. So yeah, it's okay. So I got 4x squared minus 1, and then I have a positive 2x and a negative 2x. Okay, so I have two options, 4 and 1 or 2 and 2. Well, I think it's going to have to be 2 and 2 because I see a bunch of 2's over here. I see a 2 here and a 2 here. So that means that's going to go in positive once and that's going to go in negative once. So I have 2x plus 1 and 2x minus 1. Very similar, just different signs in the middle. So 2x plus 1 equals 0. 2x minus 1 equals 0. Subtract 1 from both sides. Divide by 2. There's one answer. Add 1 to both sides. Divide by 2. You got your two answers. Negative 1/2, positive 1/2. Okay, so even if B or C, B can be 0, C can be 0. Like I said, the only one that can't be 0, you'll know you did something wrong is if A ever cancels out. Then it's not a quadratic. Then it becomes linear, something different. Okay? All right.